Hello, hey, what's happening? How you doing? This is Michael Rice, aka The Connector, and we're here for another edition of The Connector Live. Hey, how you been? Missed you. We're in 2014, 2014, and we're ready to do it. We are going to kick butt this year because we know in our own lives that we are magnificent. So we're going to exceed all expectations. Just before I get into my three keys for the day, I just want to say a big shout out to the Philadelphia Youth Leadership Council. We're getting ready to go to Baltimore to the Great Blacks Museum and learn a lot more about leaders in our past. We're going to learn about the great Americans of African descent that did amazing things to make history and the trailblazers so that we could be here today. So big shout out to all the youth that we were just in City Hall the other day with city council members and the state reps, and they did a great job in our networking exercise. Also, shout out to all my epic people, all those equal partners exchange community stakeholders, and especially out to the Elite Corps. We're getting ready to come up with a training next week. I'll be doing a training with them on strategic planning. So we're going to get into the logic model. We're going to be doing SWOTs. We're going to learn how to evaluate and effectively plan projects and strategies for organization. So that's coming. But today, let me get into some keys. Some keys for effective leadership. Let me start by saying, when you think about it, let me ask you a question. John and Mary, right? Now, both John and Mary have a contractor come to the house. And when Mary's contractor arrives, she looks in his toolbox. He opens up his toolbox. She looks inside. And she goes, she sees a hammer. That's it, just a hammer. Okay, now we go to John's house. And John's contractor comes over and he opens up. And John looks inside this guy's toolbox and he sees a hammer, some nails, a screwdriver, a drill, a wrench, some pliers, a saw, some measuring tools. So, the question is, who is going to be more effective? Mary's contractor or John's contractor? I think the answer is obvious. Obviously, answer is B, John. John's contractor is going to be more effective. And why? Because he has more tools. He has more tools so he can be more effective. So that's the plan here. I'm going to give you some tools today. I'm going to give you 3 tools in the form of these keys for effective leadership that's going to help you be more effective as a leader, more effective with your family, more effective in your community, more effective within your organization. So let's start. Today we're going to start with use it or you lose it. Okay? Now you think about it. Use it or you lose it. And that has to do with skills. Right? You have skills that you have practiced up to this point. You have skills that have put you in front of everybody. You have skills that have made you a leader. If you're watching this because you want to learn about leadership. And you obviously, if you want to learn about leadership, you're obviously in positions where you can exercise leadership. And maybe that what you have done to this point has put you in a point where you're in charge of something or you're able to lead other people, that you're a team player. And now you want to take it to the next level. So, what I'm telling you is, whatever skills that you refined that got you to this point, whatever thing you have done, you need to keep doing it. Because if you don't keep doing it, if you don't keep practicing, you're going to lose the momentum you got you where you at. In other words, you built up a capacity to achieve things. I think it was Will Smith. Actually, I was watching a video, Will Smith, and he said something excellent. And what Will said was the difference between talent and skill. And he said that the difference between talent and skill is that you could be born with talent, but skill is something that you have to refine in your own life. In other words, you got to practice it over and over and over again. You hammer out skill. You mold skills. Skill is something that you control from you practicing and constantly doing it, constantly trying to get better. Like a weightlifter adding weights by by doing exercises or whatever to get you to a certain point. And if a weightlifter stops doing that, what happens? You start losing the momentum, losing the capacity to lift greater weights, using capacity for his muscles. And you have to do the same thing in terms of your skills. You got to continue to do that. Now, I got a little story for you real quick. Now, like I said, I'm not a preacher, but I believe this is a parable, and I'm just going to paraphrase it. The story goes like this. A rich man is going on a trip, so he calls his staff in, and he talks to his staff, and what he does is he actually says to his staff, I'm going to go away, and this is in ancient times, so money was called talents. So he hands the first guy 10 talents. He says, here's 10 talents. I want you to keep that until I get back. He turns to the next guy, he gives him 5 talents. And to the final, third staff member, he gives him 1 talent. And he goes away, and he's gone for about a year. Okay, in the meantime, while he's gone, the guy has the 10 talents. He gets his hustle on. He's into getting his grind on, and he turns those 10 talents into 20 talents. Right? The next guy who has 5 talents, he gets his hustle on, and he turns them into 10 talents. And finally, the guy that had the 1 talent, he says, he takes them and he sticks them in the ground, puts them in the safe somewhere, makes it sure that he's not going to lose that 1 talent, so he goes and hides it. Year goes by, the owner, the proprietor, returns and he calls the staff together. No staff meeting. He says, let me give a progress report. He said, I gave you 10 talents. What's going on? He said, sir, I took those 10 talents and I made 20 talents. He looked at me and said, great, that's wonderful. You know what? I'm going to give you, set you up in your own business. This your land over there. You know, you good. He turns to the guy that did the 5 talents and he says, and the guy tells him, he said, hey, I took that 5 talents and I made 10 talents. He says, excellent. You did that? You did that? You know what? I'm going to give you your own business and set you up over there. That's your land over there. You can have that business over there. He turns to the last guy and then he says, okay, what'd you do with the 1 talent? He says, you know what? I knew you was going to come back. I kept it safe for you. Here's your 1 talent back. He looks down at him. He says, you know what? And he hits him with the Donald Trump. You know what? You're fired. Right? You're fired. And he takes the 1 talent and he gives it to the guy who had the 10 talents, or the 20 talents. And he says to him, he says, look, you know what I'm all about. I'm all about cultivating. I'm all about adding value. As a human being on this earth, we all should be about adding value to ourselves and to our environment. And if you're not adding value to your environment, you don't need to be around here. They actually fired him and got rid of him. That's what it's all about. It's about adding value. If you're not adding value, you're losing value. See, you depreciate unless you are building, unless you are escalating. So if you don't use it, you will lose it. Which brings us to the next key, or the next tool that you use. And I'm thinking about tools in terms about tools are strategies and tactics. The next tool has to do with seek excellence, not perfection. Now, you heard me talk about this before, about that nobody's perfect. No one's perfect, right? However, there are people that can be better. We all can be better. And so that's what you should be striving to do. And to be excellent means to, let's break that down. Excellent means to excel, to be greater than. So you always can be greater than. You always can be better today. And you need to start with today on being better. You can start off every morning with, I'm going to be better than I was yesterday. I'm going to do things or strive to be that much greater than I was. That's the path to magnificence, right? And you don't have to worry about being perfect, because there's only one perfect person on this earth, and that is God. But let me also say this: if you have children and you want to talk to your child, and your child comes home and brings you a math paper, and the math paper they failed the math test, right? Now we could be unrealistic and say, you failed the math test. Well, you know what? You will never go out until you're 18 years old, and you no more No more TV, no more videos, no more cell phone, no more internet, no more Facebook, no more Instagram, none of all that. You can eliminate all that from their lives. Or you can say, look, I'm going to work with you, and let's see where we can go and what we can do. And then when they get the next paper and say they had an F and now they got a C, now you can sit down and talk about, look, we're going for an A. We're going for A now because we've shown them that we can progress. If you can go from failing to passing, then you can go from passing to excelling. And excelling means to be excellent, and excellent is an A. So the path to magnificence is by first recognizing that you need to excel and be greater than you were. So don't try to strive to be perfect. I mean, it's just like, I'll give you another good example. There's a coach, and he's coaching Little League, and he has a baseball team. And he has this one youngster that he's dealing with. He keeps striking out. He strikes out, strikes out, strikes out. So he says, well, let me go and talk to him. He pulls him to the side. He said, you know, what's going on? What's going on? What are you thinking about? He says, Coach, all I want to do is hit a home run. And the coach turned to me and says, hit a home run? He said, first you got to hit the ball. And he says, look, let's work on hitting the ball first. Because the path to home run starts first with hitting the ball. So it's not about trying to be perfect, because perfection would be, for a batter, would be going to the plate and hitting a home run. That's perfection in baseball, right? But first what we want to do is you're going to get on the plate. We want to get the ball in the air, right? And then get to first base, then second base, then third base, then home, right? Take it in steps. That's with anything. Just like anytime you have a goal. You have a big goal, break it down in little steps, right? Don't try to be perfect altogether. Try to go after it, because sometimes it may be overwhelming. So seek excellence, not perfection. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about you is, the last key is let go and then let God. And you say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, first let me say, let go of yourself. Sometimes we get in the way. We get in the way. Our self-image sometimes gets in the way of us doing things, because sometimes we want to do things that go beyond. We want to exceed our own expectations. But our own expectations are low. Nobody rises to low expectations, though. So sometimes you got to get in the way, but because you focus on yourself and make it about you, sometimes that gets in the way of your progress. However, if you focus on the values of commitment, the values of I'm doing something for the community, the things I do, even to build my own capacity, is so that I can be better, so that I can better serve my family, so that I can better serve my community, so I can better serve my city, so I can better serve my country. So you want to look in terms of that and letting go of it about you. Because a lot of times people go about doing things and they will give up on themselves, but they won't give up on their people. They won't give up. It says, I'm doing it for my baby. I'm doing this for my daddy. I'm doing this for my mom. I'm doing this for my country. I'm doing this for my community. Major causes, when you think about it, who were the major causes? Gandhi. It wasn't about Gandhi. Gandhi served the cause that people got around. King, he did the great civil rights activist, but it wasn't about King. It was about the cause. King took himself and got involved with other people causes. He went to different cities and stood up there and became a figurehead, but it wasn't about him as much as it's about the cause of civil rights or human rights for people everywhere. So make it about a cause, about a higher value. Make it about, and when I say this is, and let God, because God in our lives represents that higher power, represents those ultimate values, those ultimate principles in life are really godly principles. Manifesting God on this earth is, and as a leader, means to exemplify those qualities of godliness. So let's go back. What was the first one? Our first tool is use it or you lose it. Use your talent, use your skill, refine it, everything. Keep your capacity going. The next one is seeks excellence and not perfection. You don't got to be perfect. You just got to make sure that you're striving to be better. And finally, let go, let God. Don't get in the way of your success and your progress. Don't make it about you. Make it about you being better so that you can add value to everyone else's lives and enrich the world. So once again, this is Michael Rice, aka The Connector, with 3 keys for effective leadership. And let me just say, my last thing is, we are building a network, one relationship at a time. Join us.